everyone, I'm Mine, and this is set number 80049, Dragon of the East Palace from the LEGO Monkie Kid theme. This set contains 2,364 pieces, 8 minifigures, and will retail for $189.99 in the US. This set does not officially release until June 1st, 2023, but it was sent to me early by the LEGO Group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. Before I get started, I'd just like to ask you guys to please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Right now, I'm doing early reviews of a bunch of June 2023 sets, including more LEGO Monkie Kid sets, as well as the new LEGO Ninjago sets and LEGO City sets. So if any of that sounds like something you'd be interested in, by liking the video and subscribing to the channel will help put my videos in your feed as soon as they're posted and also really help support me and the channel. But with all that being said, let's get on to this review. So here is the Dragon of the East Palace, and correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the biggest LEGO Monkie Kid set ever, specifically based off piece count. Bigger than the Heavenly Realms, bigger than Fruit Flower Mountain, and bigger than the original boat headquarter base. This is also the most expensive Monkie Kid set. Previous sets have been $170 and $180, but this one's $190. So with all those factors considered, I kind of expected a lot from this set. And honestly, now having it in hand, yeah, I mean, this thing is really, really beautiful. We'll get up close in a moment, but just taking in the entire build as of right now, my immediate reaction to this was this is just sort of the Temple of the Endless Sea from Ninjago, but just so much better. So sorry about that, just noticed this is oriented wrong. But yeah, no, this build perfectly communicates the idea of underwater palace. I love all the sea life all throughout, and then the buildings themselves are just so pretty. The blue used for the roof is just the standard LEGO blue color like what they use for Jay from Ninjago, but somehow when combined with all these other colors, it doesn't feel common, it actually feels very regal. And I think that's impressive that like one of the most well-known LEGO colors of all time somehow feels rare and special when on this set. I really like this build. However, when it comes to recommending it to you guys, there's a few things that make me hesitate. So let's take a look up a little bit closer and see everything that this set has in store, so that then we can get into why that is. So starting at the front on the very left side, here you can see this little display with lots of different sea life flowing all throughout. It all feels very lively, and I love all the motion capture in this with like fish swimming in, fish swimming out. Got these two little fish on the side swimming together. It's incredibly well done. There's some studs out front here too if you want to pose some of the figures in the set, but inside like this little window there's some pretty cool parts. There's of course like the coral piece of magenta that's used in a few different places in this set. I'm not sure if that's a new recolor, but it's a really cool color for that part. But then we have like this right here, that's like the LEGO mop head piece, but recolored in green to be like some sort of sea plant. That in my opinion is a really cool recolor, but somehow not even the coolest recolor in this section, because immediately above that, this is the all-new fern piece for this year, the one that was introduced with Rivendell, and then it was later used in the Endor Speeder Chase diorama from Star Wars. But yeah, this is that piece recolored in trans pink. But this is like the LEGO Friends or LEGO Dots trans pink that has like a little bit of sparkle to it, so you can see the lights reflecting off of it, and it almost looks like it's glowing. This is the one and only place that piece is used in this set. I kind of wish that you would get more than one, but the fact that there is only one makes this feel extra special. I feel like that recolor definitely was not necessary, but I'm so happy it's here. I love it so much. There's also a little LEGO compass on the ground right here that's not a new part, as well as this little clamshell. Now this clamshell is part of an accessory pack of this set. You'll see a few more animals throughout the set. There's like a little fish, starfishes, and seahorses. And when I first saw pictures of this set, I assumed all those pieces were exclusive, but no, apparently these all come from LEGO Friends a few years ago. However, I believe this is an all-new recolor for this set, because Bricklink says this accessory pack only ever came in coral. So yeah, in this set they're all in bright orange. So if you see a bright orange sea creature in this set and I don't point it out, it's probably a part of this accessory pack. But now moving over a little bit, you can see our first one. This is just a little fish, and I will say these guys feel maybe a little bit flat. LEGO probably could have done bulking them up a bit, but even still they're very cute and add life to the build. And combined with like the normal LEGO fish, I feel like they fit in well and add some variation. This is of course the main entrance to the palace right here. We'll see how it opens up in a moment. But I love how varied all the rocks are, how they jut out and go in. Feels very random yet intentional at the same time, but they capture the very natural look of an underwater area so well. Got a few stickered pieces too that just add some like printed sea life and some bubbles. You can see there's another one of those magenta coral pieces right there, as well as another one of the accessory pack fish. And then on the ground right here, here's a starfish, which is a part of that same accessory pack, and another sticker in that same style. And then at the very end here, this is where we get to our first part of the actual palace. You can see there's like this little shrine-like entryway, which uses those blue roofs that I mentioned. My favorite thing in this set has got to be the use of color. Like, everything is purposely put so well. I'm very desensitized to gold as a LEGO color because so many Ninjago sets use it, and heck, even so many Monkie Kid sets use it. But I don't know, it's used so sparingly in this set, it's very much just a trim to everything, that it does make everything feel so regal. These translate blue ball pieces at the top are really cool too. They've got a bit of sparkle to them as well. And then here you can see there's a lacquered gold piece, and that has a sticker on it, and the sticker has some Chinese text. Now I unfortunately unfortunately I'm not able to read this, but if anybody in the comments wants to translate, feel free. And there'll be a few more stickers similar to this one throughout the set, and if I had to guess, they're probably telling somewhat of a story, or providing details as to where all of this fits into the Monkey King legend, because that's what Flower Fruit Mountain did, and that's what the Heavenly Realms did, and this set is supposed to be done in a similar style to those two. At the base of this area too, there's another little stickered part. It has like a little dragon face on it, presumably the Dragon of the East, and then there's two of the seahorses from the accessory pack, which are placed at the entrance of this little building. And before we move through that archway, I almost forgot to point this guy out, but there's like this tiny little hermit crab built on the side of the rocks, and that's just absolutely adorable. It's done very similarly to how they did like Gary in the original LEGO SpongeBob sets, but I'm glad to see years later that design's still effective, because yeah, that's very clear what that's supposed to be. Cherries for eyes, then like the ice cream piece as a cone. Absolutely adorable, I love that. But yeah, if you move through that archway, you can see there's little stairs to get up to the upper levels. Lots of different sea life and foliage throughout. You can see there's another little clamshell, as well as some of those new fern pieces, though in their regular green color. And that leads you up into the main level, and like the more man-made part of the palace. The white, again, looks super elegant. It's that sparse use of it in this set because it's not all over the place, so where it is used looks so pretty. And here we see our first hit of these little railings. These railings are all throughout the set, and they're all topped off with these tiny little sparkly gems. Those gem pieces, I believe, were originally introduced for LEGO Dots. And in fact, I don't know if I've ever seen them used in like a full-size system set, but you could see how effectively they're used here. And this is a word I feel like I'm going to say a lot in this review, but it just adds to the overall elegance of everything. And I'm not sure exactly what to call this building. I'm going to call it a gazebo. Gazebo's probably not technically correct, but it's gazebo-like. But once again, you got the blue roof with the golden trim, and one of those blue orbs on it. And you can see this is another building that has some text on it. Inside the building, there's just a little table with a sticker on it, and on first glance, I wasn't sure what that sticker was, but I believe that's a board game known as Xiangqi, also known as Chinese chess. I might be wrong about that, and I almost definitely butchered that name, but from my research, pictures of that game look very similar to this, so I believe that's what it is. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, though. Regardless, though, pretty cool stickered part to get. Now, the next part of this set is definitely the biggest part, and that's, of course, the giant pillar. However, that pillar looks maybe a little bit familiar, and that's because the pillar is what became Monkey King's staff. Now, something kind of cool is this part of the build can be completely removed from the rest. It's just connected on with a few jumper pieces, so that allows us to see it up close a little bit easier. But you can see the staff's embedded in some rock. Would have been cool to get the entire staff here, but I get why they cut it off, because it would have been very, very, very tall. I mean, it's even tall like this. But you can see there's stickers on the pieces to make it up, and all of them have different text on it. And then it's topped off at the very top with the wheel pieces to be the handle of the staff, which I think is absolutely perfect. The staff's a little bit smaller than human scale. That would have been cool too if you could actually use it yourself. But again, that would have made it very, very big. I still think it's pretty cool as it is. But then taking a look at the actual rock down here, this is probably my favorite piece recolor in the set, or maybe my second favorite after that one fern. But you can see this rock right here is a fire piece, and that's actually the LEGO City fire piece. Now these pieces were designed for LEGO City to be a play feature. They're very easy to knock off, because they don't connect on super tight. But they use a ton of this piece in this set, recolored in both dark gray and dark blue. And they're just meant to be rocks that have been worn down by water over time. And these pieces work so perfectly for that. The like natural smoothness of the fire piece looks so good. And it almost gives off that like warped appearance of how things look when you're looking underwater. Such a creative choice, and you'll see it's used in a few other places in the set, and every single one looks absolutely perfect. I genuinely think these pieces do so much to give this set its own unique identity, and really convey those underwater vibes. I love it so much. Anyway, with this staff, there's one more thing you can do with it, because the entire big staff can also just be removed. You can pull it off like this, and you can see hidden underneath is the smaller staff for Monkey Kid to hold. Unfortunately, it's not the newer version of the staff introduced this year, but that does come in plenty of other sets. Yeah, you can see it's just embedded, you can remove it very easily. So if you wanted to give this to Monkey King as an accessory or something, you could, and then you could reinstate the big pillar if you wanted to. So yeah, of course, the place where Monkey King got his staff, very important part of the Monkey King story, so it's awesome to finally get it in LEGO form, and I think they captured it pretty well here. Anyway, now putting the staff back, you can see the stairway then leads up to the main palace. We'll get to that in a moment though. First I want to go out in front of it. And here's where you can see more of those fire pieces used. Again in dark gray, and then here's in dark blue. Especially when they build off of it like this, it just looks so gorgeous. We also have a little crab floating right here. Another piece of coral, though, oriented differently, I guess to create some variation. And then at the very end, a few more of those, like, fire pieces in both dark blue and dark gray. I like the sand green all throughout, too. It's not overbearing, but I think it's a very pretty color that fits pretty well. And then in the very back here, you have a larger clamshell piece, and then this big old dragon coming out of the ground. Now, this guy, they don't really specify anywhere. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be the Dragon of the East in his dragon form. The colors are obviously very different from the minifigure, or if this is some other dragon. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments. comments. But regardless, this guy looks cool. I love the colors, the dark blue and the gold. That's something I haven't seen too often, not even in Ninjago, I want to say. But he's clearly water themed with like water coming out of his nose. And he uses like those gem pieces used on the railing for his eyes. The head's connected on a ball joint and there's a pretty good range of motion. Each little bit of like flowing hair too can be articulated. There's a bit of motion on the jaw, though the head has to be moved up for the jaw to move. And then the dragon has these tiny little arms, but these giant hands. And there's 4 individually posable fingers, so you can have him grab onto something. In one hand, he's holding just like this orb right here, and you can clutch the fingers around that. And then turn him around, you can see there's some stickered parts to represent like dragon scales. Yeah, even though it's only a small part of the dragon, I think he looks quite good. It would have been cool to get an entire dragon in this set, but you can see that little bit is just popping out of this pillar right here, and you can rotate him. And that's all the dragon you get. So a little bit disappointing, but also I think it's fine what you have. It looks good, it makes the set one solid piece instead of having like separate things off to the side. So I don't mind too much. This guy definitely adds a lot of personality, I like him quite a bit. Now getting to the main palace in the center, this thing is beautiful. It takes all the aspects that I mentioned before and just combines them all into one thing. That blue roof, those white pillars, all of this gold trim. I really love all the pieces they used for the gold on the roof too. There's like the Monkey Kid cloud pieces in gold, a giant shell right here of course in the center. There's like the Ninjago dragon hilts, and then of course classic LEGO frogs up here. Lots of different stuff, but it all just goes together so nicely and feels very regal and elegant. I really love it. To get inside the palace, there's a set of double doors and those can be pushed open. And we'll take a look at the interior in a moment, but we're not done with the outside just yet, because of course there is a bit of a transformation feature with this set. These sections at the front can be slid to the side to open them up, and that will actually reveal some interior. And I believe this is meant to be the throne room for the Dragon of the East. You can see I've got his actual minifigure there right now, but I'll remove him for the moment. But yeah, you can see there's a tiny little throne at the back. So many gold pieces around him too that make up like this runic design, but they all go together so nicely. And then in front of the throne there's these 2 places for minifigures to sit, and each of them have like a teapot and a bowl. It's a small thing, but I like these angled builds beside the throne. They just add a nice shape that you don't see a ton in LEGO. And yeah, the way the light just shines in looks beautiful. I love all the translate blue pieces too to show that like, hey, this is all underwater. And when you do have everything closed up, you may actually notice you can see in there a little bit, but it's all hidden behind translate blue, again to give the appearance of everything being underwater. With it opened up though, there's another giant stickered piece with text on it. But now let's turn this boat around and take a look at the rest of the interior on the other side. So there's a few different rooms of interior on the opposite side. This first one on the very left has 2 chairs. The instructions to this set say that this is the place where Monkey King and the Dragon King met to discuss the fable of the wise man. And I believe that's what this stickered piece is in the back, a painting of the fable of the wise man. There's also a few more stickered pieces to represent like the frame for that painting, which I think that's actually really cool. They're little things, but I don't know, add some nice extra detail. And then we also have some stickered banner pieces with the Dragon of the East symbol on them, which that's pretty cool to see as well. Then in the center we have the largest room in the entire build, and this is the armory of the Dragon of the East. You can see this is directly behind the throne room, and there's lots of different weapons in here. It's mostly just room to pose figures, however, so you can fit quite a few in here. But yeah, you can see there's a few different weapons. You get 4 total of these like little swords. These ones I think were introduced for LEGO Lord of the Rings years ago, but they're good just like general use swords. Then there's 4 classic LEGO spears. I'm sure everyone's seen those before, but still, there you go. But then you just have a classic LEGO like knight's armor piece right here, which you could detach and put onto a minifigure if you wanted to. So for example, there's how that would look. And then finally, I don't know what these weapons are called, but these are the ones that the yellow tusk elephant uses in other sets. So it's cool to see those here. And then finally, above it all, you just have a sign with some more text. And then on the very right side, we have one more room. This once again has 2 more of those stickered banner pieces. And then there's just this giant bed. I assume this is meant to be the Dragon of the East's bedroom, but this bed piece can also be removed. And you can see behind that, there's yet another stickered piece. This looks like it's meant to be a little fish tank, maybe? Or maybe it's just a look out into the abyss. But you can see there's a few fish, some coral, as well as this little statue of these 4 different characters. All of them look very similar to the Dragon of the East. I'm not sure if they're meant to be the 4 dragons for the 4 different directions, or if it's literally just the Dragon of the East 4 times in different colors. But regardless, it's a pretty cool reference. And then below where the bed is kept, there's 2 things down here. First, we just have a box of Pixie's noodles. These come in quite a few sets, but still cool to see. However, this other thing's pretty significant. This, I believe, is a sticker part to represent the Scroll of Memory in Monkey Kid Season 4. And I believe this is the only set that this comes in. Because while we do get a bigger version of it in the Mighty Azure Lion, the minifigure scale one I don't remember seeing in any other set. So it's surprising I'm keeping it exclusive to this, considering it's a big part of the season and this set really isn't based off Monkey Kid Season 4. But I'm happy it at least came somewhere, because yeah, this is pretty important. It's nice to get here though. And then finally, if we move up, we get to the interior of the main palace. This is of course where the doors open up into, However, the actual area in here is not that big. You can see there's one final stickered piece with some text, and then it just looks like there's some treasures in here. There's the LEGO Chima Chi piece. There's this really gorgeous pink rock piece, which I think originally came from LEGO City, but it's so cool and I love whenever I get it. Like, that's some incredible sculpting on the inside of that rock. Very crystalline. If you don't have this piece yet and you plan on getting this set, it's a very cool one. And then on the other side, you have another little table built exactly the same way, and on it there's a classic LEGO Power Miners like red crystal piece, as well as a little egg, which I'm not sure if the egg is meant to be anything in particular. Let me know in the comments if it is and I'm just not realizing it. But yeah, that's about all there is to this final room. Now, we're almost done with the build of this set. There's a few more little things. For one, on the back of the rocks where the staff is, there's two little stickered parts, and you can see there's just like some sea life growing on it, little starfish. However, that right there, is that meant to be Nerja? That looks like his hair and his staff, but he's very, very tiny. I believe this set is at a bit of a weird scale. Like, the interior is not downscale, but the exterior is. Like, I believe the entire palace is supposed to be what we see up here, and then everything back here, as well as the throne room in the front, you're supposed to imagine is inside there. I believe that's how it's designed, so maybe Nerja's that tiny because he's meant to be in scale with, like, the actual palace. Or if it's for another reason, let me know in the comments, because, yeah, I'm not 100% sure. And then when you transform this set by pulling out the sides, on the right side, there's nothing new. You just see the back of a big ugly rock piece. Though it's in light gray, and I'm not sure if I've ever seen that piece in light gray before. I'd be shocked if it's never come in that color, though. However, on the left side, it's a little bit more interesting. You pull it out, and there's a tiny little prison in there, which you can open up, and there's a skeleton inside. He is supposed to come with 2 arms. My set was just missing a piece. But yeah, it's just a skeleton with handcuffs. Looks like the poor guy was stuck in prison too long. But yeah, that's all there is to this. Just a tiny little door that opens up, but it's a little bit of an extra play feature, so I'm happy that's included. And there we go. There is the full build of the Dragon of the East Palace set. Of course, we still have the minifigures to talk about, but before we get to them, I just want to talk about my one real concern with this set, and I might be entirely off base, but is it just me or does this set feel a little bit small for $190? Because I don't know, thinking back to like Flower Fruit Mountain or the Heavenly Realms, those felt a bit more significant than this, and while I love what you get in this set, I think it's gorgeous, and piece count wise, yeah, this is well more than like $190 worth. Physical size, I don't know, feels almost a little bit small. I was kind of hoping it would maybe be a bit deeper, have a bit more interior to it. But maybe I'm just wrong, and my sense of value's just been warped. So yeah, genuinely I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. Does this feel like a $190 set to you, or do you feel like it should be cheaper? Because that's my biggest hesitation in recommending this thing. Because built alone, it's probably my favorite Big Monkey Kid set yet, and honestly might be my favorite just Monkey Kid set in general. We'll talk about all that more at the end of this video though, just want to mention it real quick now. But let's take a look at the minifigures, and then I can give you my overall thoughts. So here are the first 2 minifigures in this set. We have an all-new exclusive version of Monkey King, as well as a Monkey Kid and scuba gear. I feel like with these big sets, the designers always like to include an exclusive version of Monkey King, which honestly makes sense. But this one's kind of interesting because I feel like it's very similar to ones we've already gotten. It's similar to just his standard Monkey King suit that we get in a lot of different sets, and in fact he reuses the legs on that suit. The only new part here I believe is that torso piece. I don't think the face print's new, but the torso piece is pretty good. Instead of using the bright orange like he normally uses, this is actually just regular LEGO yellow, and he's completely ditched the teal here. Instead he's got one red arm, a bit of silver, and then like a black necktie. Metallic silver, of course, always looks great when you reflect it in the light. And then, while not new, this is a great leg piece, because you can see that like white stripe continues around the side, and they are dual molded legs. So honestly, I think this figure looks really nice. Maybe not as extravagant as some of the other like exclusive Monkey Kings we've got in the past, but still genuinely very cool. I like this guy a lot. Taking his hairpiece off there, you can see his alternate face, and yep, that's just the generic smiling Monkey King. And you can see in terms of accessory, he just comes with a standard LEGO staff piece, the same one that like Sensei Wu has used for years. And then this version of Monkey Kid is kind of exclusive, kind of not. None of the pieces on him are exclusive, but Scuba Monkey Kid, at least in this form, does not come in any other set. The actual outfit, though, is just Monkey Kid's normal outfit for this wave. His leg piece is the same one as last summer, but the torso piece is all new for this year, and it's like this puffier jacket, and he's got like this one black arm and one red arm. The one black arm is an interesting choice of color because it looks very different from like every other Monkey Kid suit. Typically, he does mostly the teal, the orange, and the white. He's really only ever had the black on his shoes. So seeing them bring it up into his torso, honestly, is actually pretty cool. Helps this guy stand out, and I think it looks pretty good. There's a bit of metallic silver on him too, which is nice to see. And I feel like the teal is not too overbearing, but looks good. It's like a fun splash of color. You can see his scuba gear, though, is actually the Ninjago Seabound scuba gear piece, which I'm surprised they decided to use that, because like it's designed to fit a sword in the back, and obviously Monkey Kid doesn't really need it, though I guess you could use a katana. And then in terms of accessory, he comes with little teal flippers on his feet. These are in teal because they fit his color scheme, but also LEGO already had them made for the Hydro Whippers from Seabound. And then yeah, he comes with a little camera piece, just like he does in a lot of the other big sets, because the idea is this is Monkey Kid going back and looking at Monkey King's past, learning about the stories, and he's got the camera to take pictures along the way. And there's how the figure looks with the scuba gear removed. Here's a full look at his face print too, fairly generic Monkey Kid face, and then turning him around, there's his alternate face. Again, fairly generic face, just with the big smile and like the red makeup. But I love the back torso print on this version, with like the metallic cloud. That's a fun way to mix things up, because normally that's just like solid white. Yeah, I like this guy. Probably not my favorite Monkey Kid suit of all time, but it's good, and the scuba gear helps keep him unique. Then here are the next two figures in this set. We of course have the Dragon of the East himself, as well as a Turtle Minister. These two are also both exclusive, and in fact Monkey Kid's the only figure in this set that's not exclusive. But yeah, this is an all-new version of the Dragon of the East, which is pretty cool to see, because we already got a version of this guy, so they could have very easily just reprinted that. But I guess they decided because this is such a big and expensive set, they'd make a different version, and that's something I really appreciate. Because yeah, well, this one's very similar. I don't know, it's cool to have two options for this guy. He uses the same like beard piece with like the crown, and luckily this one was printed correctly. I had a misprint on my last version of him. But you can see he's got these like almost sort of golden antlers, and then he's also wearing this like spiked armor piece. And then his robes look really good. The robes themselves are white though, with like a teal undershirt, and then everything's trimmed with gold. There's a little dragon symbol in the center, which is really pretty. He definitely matches the elegance of the overall build. I think it fits pretty well. He also has the pink blade that he came with in his previous set, the dragon blade, as well as the staff that also has a dragon face at the top. There's a single hole caper on the back, which has an interesting shape to it. Very unique, maybe not my favorite, but it's cool to get at least. And then flipping that up there, you can see his back torso print, which again is very similar to the front. Taking his hairpiece off, there's what his full face print looks like. I feel like that could make for a cool custom character just using that. He's got like these big bright eyes and like the tiny little beard. And then turning him around, he does have an alternate face where you can see he's a bit angrier. One eye is scrunched up and he's a bit annoyed and he's like shouting. And here's how that looks with the beard piece on. I believe that headpiece is the same one that he had on his previous figure. The only new parts are the torso and the legs, but still very cool that they are new. And then the Turtle Minister is really fun. He's literally just an anthropomorphic turtle. Not sure what's going on with his head. I don't know if that's meant to be a hat, but using like these brick built parts, I don't know about that. It's unique, I guess, but I probably would have preferred like a molded hat piece. If that's like something very specific though that I'm missing, let me know in the comments. But yeah, you can see he's got like the sort of fatter belly, and then these sort of like backpack straps, which I guess are what keeps his shell on. This is an all new printed shell piece, and you do get an extra of it in the set if you have any other uses for it. And then in terms of accessories, he comes with like this little pen, which this is actually a really creative build. It uses the fire piece in solid black to be like the tip of the pen, and then he holds just like a blank scroll. And then if you remove that shell piece, you can see there's what the back of the torso looks like. No printed shell, which is interesting. But yeah, I think this guy's very fun. Maybe a little bit creepy, but I think that's alright for a character like this. Anthropomorphic turtle, something I never expected to get in LEGO, but I'm happy he's here. Two very good figures overall. But now we get to the very best figures of the entire set, and maybe the best figures LEGO has ever made ever. Here we have two shrimp soldiers. Now these two are both exactly identical to each other, but they have an all new molded headpiece, which is obviously a giant shrimp. I love like the sort of confused expressions of their faces and like the giant whiskers coming off. Their heads are rubber pieces, not solid plastic, and they are just so goofy. I love them so much. I kind of wish they came in a cheaper set, because I want to army build these guys. I want 1,000,000 shrimp soldiers. They're just so much fun. I am happy you get two here though, at the very least, instead of just one. Such a funny concept and executed so well. In terms of the torso piece, I'm only going to take the head off of one because they're both exactly identical. But there you go, there's nothing exactly shrimp specific to these guys. You can see they've just got some like golden armor and some teal cloth on top of it. And this sort of like crustacean-y like chest piece, though I don't think that's their own chest, that looks like that's meant to be armor. And then turning them around, they have more armor just I guess sort of in the shape of dragon scales, though that's going to be covered up most of the time because you have the shrimp head on there. Something like leg printing would have been nice, but honestly for generic runs like this it doesn't really matter. I'm just happy they got that all new molded head. You know what they should do? They should use these for a Ninjago villain wave in the future. Just make all the Ninjago villains shrimp soldiers. These guys are so cool. I love them so much. Genuinely the best part of the set in my opinion. But it doesn't end there, because we also get two crab generals in this set. And just like the shrimp soldiers, they're basically just a normal minifigure with a crab on their head instead of a shrimp. Now they use the same exact torso as the shrimp soldiers, though now with short legs and they're in brown instead of the dark orange. But this headpiece is actually really good. I mean, on a minifigure it looks very silly, just like the shrimp soldiers, and I absolutely love that. Very cute little face, love like the printed eyes. These ones are hard plastic, not a rubber like the shrimps are. However, if you just remove the torso piece, if you have like an underwater build and just displayed that on its own, that kind of works as just like a regular crab. That doesn't look like a Hastio on a minifigure, but when it does, they are very silly. I love them so much. LEGO needs to make a battle pack of two of these guys, two shrimp soldiers, and I will be the first person to get 100 of each. No, but genuinely, I love silly minifigures like this, and getting so many of them exclusive to a big set, that's the dream. I would have liked even more sea creatures, but the fact that we got 3 like unique ones in this set is already already super cool. Yeah, very, very happy with these guys. I love them so, so very much. And so, overall, what are my thoughts on this set? Well, if you can't tell, yeah, I like this set a lot. As you heard me mention a little bit at the beginning of this video, my only real concern in recommending this set is just, like, the size for the price. It's maybe a little bit small for the price, but even still, it's a huge set. Like, it is a very big set, and an incredibly detailed set. That's the biggest thing. So while physical size may not be as big as some of the others, and don't get me wrong, it's not small, it's just not as big as some of the others, the level of detail is truly unmatched. It's gonna look so beautiful on a shelf. Monkie Kid's unfortunately one of those themes where I have to take apart a lot of my sets just because I don't have room for them all, but this is one I'm going to 100% keep together because it is just so, so pretty. So would I recommend this set? I mean, it's certainly not for everybody. At $190, that is a lot to ask, but if you're a huge fan of Monkie Kid or just like underwater themed things, and you have that kind of money to spare, I would recommend this one. I like it a lot, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!